Did you know that air quality regulations are some of the most complex from all the environmental regulations? Getting a permit is not easy. You need to meet the federal, the state, and the local regulations. In addition to that, you may also need to prove that your project does not exceed or cause an exceedance of the NAAQS. This is usually done with dispersion modeling, but dispersion modeling can be one of the most challenging aspects of the permitting process. Why? Well, dispersion modeling has to meet the NAAQS, and the NAAQS right now are very tight, especially the new short-term NAAQS. So it's very difficult to meet them because they're very stringent. And also, the tool that we use to evaluate the NAAQS, which is AirMod, which is EPA's preferred model for regulatory purposes, this tool tends to overestimate concentrations in many occasions. Therefore, you're left in a very complicated environment where you're trying to get a permit, but you have all these obstacles along the way. So how do you overcome that? Well, to get a permit, you need to get a partner that knows the regulations well, that has the expert advice to help you through that process, but also you need a partner that knows and has the specific tools to help you overcome some of the limitations of some of the regulatory tools that we use, specifically related to dispersion modeling. And that's why I'm glad to announce that CPP now offers air permitting services. And along with that, the benefit of physical modeling to refine some of these inputs that go into the model. So I'm very glad to join and to be part of this process. And I have been a regulator for many years, but I've also been a researcher for over 15 years looking at air quality. So I've seen how science and regulations interact with each other. I've seen how as science gets better, we're able to identify possible threats to public health. And in doing so, regulations react by establishing thresholds that are aimed at protecting public health. And that's all we want. We want to protect the public health. We want to breathe clean air. However, there are instances when the regulations go too far. And in this case, I'm talking about some of the regulatory tools that we use to evaluate the compliance with the NAAQS. When we do dispersion modeling, there are times when the model will overpredict. And then you're left with exceedances of the NAAQS that you have to address, because you cannot get a permit until you show that you're in compliance with the NAAQS through modeling. However, many times these exceedances are due to some of the conservative inputs that you put into the model. And unfortunately, many times this means that a facility will have to spend a lot of money to increase stack heights, to do mitigation techniques, to add new controls, sometimes spending millions of dollars, just so that their permitting, their modeling analysis can be compliant with the NAAQS. However, what it's doing is really making up for this overprediction that is due to the inputs that are going into AirMod. That's why I'm very glad to join CPP, because CPP has the expertise of physical modeling. And physical modeling can be a tool that can be very useful in many of these cases. Because again, there are cases when the permit process takes you to the modeling. And once you get to modeling, if you cannot show compliance, your project is basically dead on the water. And your project may never see the light of day. So CPP is an expert on wind tunnel testing and physical modeling with decades of experience. And the experts here at CPP are the pioneers in some of these areas. And now we can use this expertise into refining some of the inputs that go into AirMod to give you a better result, to give you more accurate results, because we're using the best available science. Additionally, what we're finding out is that we're finding that there are reductions of more than 50% in concentrations from the model. This is very significant, and this is very exciting, because some of these projects that got stuck in the modeling process now have new life, now have an option to continue their projects and advance what they need to do. So at CPP, we can give you the expert advice because of all the expertise that I have on regulatory modeling and the regulations themselves. But we also have very unique tools that can help you overcome some of the intricacies, if you would, of the modeling process. So to learn more, or if you want to discuss any of your projects with us, feel free to contact us or go to our website at cppwind.com.